Hello everyone, it's Kristen Redmond, Astrological Intuitive, and today we are going to be going over the influences that are happening astrologically for the upcoming week, January 29th through February 4th. And this week, luckily, we really don't have any major aspects that are happening. There's no major transits, and it's a good thing, right? Because we're coming off of the heels of this really powerful full moon that happened on Thursday of last week. And the Leo full moon was really challenging a lot of energies inside of us, right? It was a very tense moon because there was a lot of squares that were happening to it and a lot of oppositions, a lot of issues that were happening, making it a very difficult moon. And with that, right, at the full moon, that's when things kind of reach an apex. Think of it like a glass filling up, and that's what the moon goes through in its cycle. And as it reaches that breaking point, that's when the water spills out of that glass, right? That's when all of the cracks and crevices of things that are hidden come to light. And with it being that first full moon of 2024, we're really letting that glass of 2023 billow over, right? And so there's a lot of energy that was coming out of that. And because it was the Leo full moon, it had to do with things that make us happy and feeling like we are appreciated for the energy that we put in, whether that's at work, relationship, family, home, all of those things. It's saying, I don't want to say, am I not good enough? That's kind of more of a Taurus thing, but you know, we've had a lot of energy with Taurus anyway, with Uranus challenging that since 2018, asking, am I good enough? And I guess really truly with that moon that happened last week, the moon was in the sign of Leo, but the sun was in the sign of Aquarius, and Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. So I guess in a weird roundabout way of me going on and on there, it does actually tie in with, am I good enough? Are my contributions being valued enough by the people around me? And of course, last week happened and it could have created some tense moments. And so this week, since there really aren't a lot of energies happening, it's a matter of decompressing from it. We are in the waning phase of the moon right now. And when we go through the waning phase of the moon, that's when we can really, like I said, decompress. We can really release all of those things that came to a head during that full moon cycle. With that, think of it in a way, right? This is where we are kind of losing that energy. So you may find this week, because everything was built up so much and there was so much energy behind it, that you may be a little bit tired, and don't be surprised as a result. In the waning phase, we're trying to conserve our energies. We're trying to process the events that are brought to us. And really through the remainder of this week, we don't have a lot going on. On Monday, we do have, it is Monday, right? Yeah, on Monday, we have Mars making a positive connection with Uranus. So I think of all the days in this coming week where we may have motivation to get things done, it's going to be on Monday, because Mars is the planet of action and doing and energy. I always say it's like the engine of the solar system. And for us, where it lands in our chart is where we get our energy. And so with Mars, it's making a connection with Uranus, and that can unexpectedly, bring some energetic spurt. It can bring other sides of Mars to the surface too, right? So that's going to be confidence. That's going to be courage. Maybe that full moon brought some things to light with you where, yeah, you know what? I am being underappreciated, or I feel hurt, right? Because Leo deals with the heart. And it's saying, that really hurt my feelings. That really upset me. Maybe on Monday, we have that confidence and the courage, and it might come through unexpectedly, thanks to Uranus, to say, hey, this is what happened last week. Let's circle back, and you know what? It really upset me and it really hurt my feelings. And, that's good, because as we go through this waning phase this week, the energy is behind you to let everybody kind of sit with that energy. Let those emotions kind of heal themselves, because you know how it is with full moons. Things are always notoriously going to be a little bit more heightened. And in the waning phase, we can really give honor to our emotions and let them settle, let them process, and get the wisdom that comes from those emotions, right? Doing astrology now for about 10 years, I have really come to find that a lot of us, especially if you're an empath, if you identify as an empath, right? We are the people that have learned to take in consideration the needs of other people first, right? We're more concerned about how our actions are going to impact others than how it really makes an impact on ourselves. So we find that we don't really put our needs first, or we kind of forget what it is that we need. We forget what it is that we feel, especially if you are an empath, because growing up, you're going to be told your feelings are wrong. That's incorrect. You're overreacting, you know, and maybe you weren't, you know, maybe you were just like, I can sense something isn't right. And the person got freaked out. And they're like, oh my God, I don't want you to figure that out. So you get this message that your feelings and your needs are wrong. And so as a result, you look to others to say, what am I feeling? What should I be feeling in this moment, right? And we don't really give the credence to our emotions that in the intel that they're giving us. There's a lot of wisdom to our emotions. So being able to identify them is something that I really work with a lot of clients with, because we forget that. We forget what it is that we're actually feeling, you know? And if this is resonating with you and you're like, holy smokes, I guess I don't know. I guess I know I'm angry, but that's about all I know. I would highly suggest looking up the emotion wheel online. There's tons of them out there on Google. Just Google it. And it can really help you break down and say, oh, I'm not just angry, I'm frustrated. That's what it is. I have frustration, and it'll kind of guide you and direct you to saying, oh, I have frustration because I'm being minimized, or what have you, you know. And then you can identify what that is and be able to tell people, hey, I feel this, right? Because that's really all we can do in a situation. We can say how the situation makes us feel and what we can do to change that, right? So this is a week where I see that kind of happening, where we can really identify what our emotions are telling us, the wisdom that it's telling us, and maybe even act on that. Maybe Monday you have that push, but on another aspect, maybe it's something where that full moon was telling you to get something done. Having Mars, the planet that gives you that courage to make it happen, and that fire to just, let's get it going, you know. You may find that you have an unexpected amount of energy to get those things done on Monday, but maybe not for the rest of the week. And that's okay, right? Another aspect that we have happening is Mercury, the planet of the mind and communication, making a really positive impact with the planet Neptune. Neptune, of course, is our spirituality. It gives that credence to the emotions, like I was saying. It's the planet of dreams. So you may find that when you have the planet of dreams, kind of making a great connection with the planet of the conscious mind, maybe we're having some actual dreams at night that are bringing messages and guidance through. That could very well be. But for the most part, I look at what this week is giving us, and I think it's giving us the power to really sift through what the full moon brought up, and then kind of just deal with that, whether it is talking about it or just recognizing that within yourself and coming to an understanding within yourself. Whichever way, right? But that's kind of the way I'm looking at it. You know, Friday is when Neptune and Mercury make that connection. So there could be some creative problem solving that happens. But it also could be, since it's a really low energy week, that's more of a day for daydreaming as opposed to getting things done. And I always say there's a lot of power in daydreaming, right? Because when we are daydreaming, we're creating in our mind what we want things to be. And that's how we manifest things into reality, isn't it? With what our mind is telling us. So when we have positive connections that are happening in this week, and it's the same with Mars and Uranus, it's a positive connection. We're not looking at the shadow sides of these things. It's bringing some positive influences through that help us really identify our thoughts and our feelings, and to kind of act on them, dream on them, and maybe come up with some plans for moving forward with how we want to deal with it a little bit differently. But for the most part, that's this week, everybody. Just kind of give yourself some time and space and grace, and just really enjoy taking it easy, and don't beat yourself up if you feel like you're being lazy, because you're not, right? That's the thing. You're just kind of decompressing from all the stuff that filled up in 23 coming over, right? Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful week.